the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. The foundation leads the fight. The warriors lead the tribe. When the beat drops and the spirits rise, we find the truth behind the disguise. They want us to go away, only our hearts do we obey. The foundation leads the fight. The warriors lead the tribe. When the beat drops and the spirits rise, we find the truth behind the disguise. They want us to go away, only our hearts do we obey. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo.
check, check, microphone check. Hey, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We're here back on the Grunt Style Foundation and Irreverent Warriors podcast. Of course, I am Hugh from IW, joined by Will, Grunt Style Foundation, and we have a special guest today, Alina Love, one of the practitioner healers that joins the Grunt Style Foundation and works closely with them on their retreats, especially the annual integration retreat. And we also have Stacy, the leader of our largest chapter in Indiana, and she's got a lot she's going to want to share today. So I think what we're going to do, y'all, is I think we'll jump in with Stacy first and check in and see how things are going in Indiana. And, oh, there she is.
And happy birthday.
Oh, my gosh. I can't believe it's her birthday. I know. I saw that on Facebook. Happy birthday. That's fantastic. You don't look a day older than 25.
Well, that's because I'm doing all the appropriate healing modalities. It makes you look younger.
Nice. I love it. I love having you on. I love checking in with you. I know what you all are doing in Indiana is so important. I know two of our biggest communities in Indiana are in Indy and in Vincennes. And I know that you're doing such good work in Indiana, and I would love to hear what all you have coming up. What's on the agenda? Because I know people from all around the state, you know, when I've attended the IW Indiana events, people are driving in from 4 or 5 hours away.
Yes, we're really excited. We have a lot of support throughout Indiana. Our first event coming up is the IW Vincennes Hike, the weekend of April 10th. And then we jump right into retreat season. So our first retreat of our season is May 15th through the 17th, which is our co-ed retreat.
Fantastic. And I know you're getting a ton of support from the Indiana VFW. They've really stepped up like the way that they support our Irreverent Warriors, haven't they?
Yes, the Indiana VFW is amazing. They've not only contributed financially, but they're also boots on the ground helping with our volunteer teams and helping support our events. The VFW Auxiliary has stepped up tremendously and helps feed and support our events as well.
I love that. And they volunteer. I mean, they come out and they prepare meals and do all the things. So it saves us from having to go find a vendor and a caterer and all that. I love working. We work with the auxiliary here in St. Louis, and it's worked out really, really, really well.
They're phenomenal and they can cook. Like there's never anyone that leaves our events hungry, but it's some really good like down home cooking. So everyone's pretty thrilled to eat their food. So
How does somebody sign up for the retreat that's coming up? Yeah, give us the dates, times, and all the logistics on that one.
yeah, so the first retreat kicking off our season in Indiana is the co-ed retreat. It's May 15th through the 17th. And you can go to www.iwvincennes.com and all of our events are listed with all the individual links. That's part of our donor drive page to help keep everything organized. All of our retreats in Indiana this year are $75. However, we never want costs to be a deterrent from any veteran from seeking out healing modalities. So we do have scholarships available to make the retreats free for individuals that do need that support. Our co-ed retreat has both male and female barracks separate, so they will be housed separately, but then classes will be co-ed and co-taught with male and females in the integrated classes. So yeah, we're pretty excited. You're going to come in that Friday night, leave that Sunday morning, and all the way through the event, we have different practitioners jumping into some of those healing modalities for us.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the different folks and the different modalities.
So this year, new to Indiana, we have Gateway Tension and Trauma Release coming, and they're going to be doing tension and trauma release exercises with us, which is a vibration and different things. And when you look at it, sometimes it can look maybe a little intimidating, but it's really an amazing program. And I'm really excited that they're able to come in. We also have Hives for Heroes coming out and doing hands-on beekeeping with us. They're working with our location to get the permits needed to actually bring their live hives and bee suits so we can actually be exposed to a hands-on practice with that, and then also how to use the beeswax and other products that you can use additionally outside of the actual beekeeping routine. So that's really exciting and be able to do that hands-on experience. We love doing hands-on. And then this year we have the joy of Justin from Grunt Style Foundation coming, and I'm really excited because he's going to be doing guided meditations, and I'm really excited for that exercise and Justin coming to Indiana to do that as part of our retreat. So.
Yeah, Justin brings a lot of different skills to the table. We've got a lot from Grunt Style Foundation that we can use and leverage there to help folks in Indiana. So that's fantastic. What else you guys got going on? What else is coming up? I know you guys have always like monthly events almost out there.
We do. We always have so much going on. So our IW Indianapolis team actually has a fundraiser on February 21st at the Martinsville VFW. They are doing a spaghetti fundraiser. And then we have the Vincent's hike on April 11th. In between that, we are actually doing the mental health first aid training class for first responders and veteran leaders down in Vincent's, Indiana. Purdue is teaching that class for us, and that's a 3-year certification to help people respond appropriate to mental health crises in our community. And then we have the May retreat coming up. Then we have the male retreat, which is Operation Firewatch, July 31st through August 2nd, and the female retreat, Operation Phoenix, from October 2nd to the 4th. And then one of our late fall events is our Silkies of Steel, which is our first certified strongman competition. We're marrying the IW community with that strongman community as a healing modality.
Wow, fantastic! You got a lot cooking there. I know I'm going to make it out to Indiana for at least a couple of those events. So thanks so much. Is there anything else you'd love to share before we get into the next segment?
Nope, we're just really excited. And if anyone has questions about upcoming retreats, any of the Indiana LCs can assist, but you can get more information at www.iwvincennes.com or irreverentwarriors.com. Both will lead you to the correct locations.
Awesome. Yep. irreverentwarriors.org. Yep. Thank you very much, Stacy. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much, Stacy. I think we've got the two big superstars. Not that everybody's not a superstar in the IW space. They all are. But I think my two favorite folks that I think are doing the good work and really shepherding many people, veterans, into better places. I think Miss Pond out in D.C. and Miss Stacy over there in Indiana. I mean, they are the bar guys.
Good job, Stacy.
Absolutely. And shout out to the female veteran community. 40.1%, according to our surveys, of IW is female, and only 11% of veterans are female. So we have 4 times the distribution within IW, and we've got a ton of fantastic empowered female leaders that are kicking ass.
That is such a good number, because that means that it feels safe, right? This is a place that people can go to and they feel secure in what it is that they're doing, and that's not always the case with, unfortunately, with a lot of the things that go on inside of the veteran community. So, well done, man.
Yep. And we're not perfect. We're always working to improve. But yeah, it's fantastic. Thank you, Stacy, again for coming on. Thank you so much, Alina. Thank you. Speaking of female leaders, Alina herself is from the firefighter community, which I love. That it's fantastic, and she's also one of our healers for Grunt Style Foundation. And I wanted to start out by pointing out. I wanted to show you something, Alina. I saw an article that my team brought to me this morning about a company commander in the National Guard. In the Washington National Guard. And this company commander has been doing singing bowl therapy for her troops because science has shown incredible mental health benefits of this therapy, right? And a lot of us in the veteran community, the only thing we've really been offered is pharmaceuticals and then talk therapy with someone that keep changing the person that we're having talk therapy with, and it's hard to ever establish trust, right? And even with talk therapy, introducing people to holistic modalities inside of our unit. I just thought that was phenomenal. And I know that you are a practitioner of that. What can you tell us about how that helps with all the when you have a bunch of chattering voices in your head, how does singing bowls, because they look kind of, to somebody, it's just like there's just a bunch of bowls that make noise, right? How is that going to help me? I have all this criticism in my head, or I have all these different voices competing with one another. Like, how does that work?
That's a great question. And honestly, I was right there with you at the beginning of my journey. And, I have my own issues that I had to struggle with. I was trying to find all kinds of different modalities that would help me. And I really applaud, female leaders who are breaking the stereotypes of what this is. Sound healing isn't just for a stereotype of like the new age woo-woo. There is science behind it. So, it really helped me because I came into sound healing sessions to help me heal my own trauma. And I was just like you. I was in decades of therapy, over a decade, 12, 13, 14 years. And the talking was just helping me relive the experience, and it just solidified PTSD even more for me. And for some people, that might be very helpful. But for me, I was really struggling. So I found that there was different modalities out there that would help you tap into different parts of your subconscious without having to go into the story. And like scientifically, what happens with sound healing, singing bowls, all these different states of consciousness that you start to kind of tap into as you go from a beta state where it's like our brain is active and we're thinking, there's mind chatter. And then, the first few minutes we flow into an alpha state brain waves where you become more calm and things start to kind of settle down. And I don't know about you, but I know for a fact that it took me a really long time to practice meditation because of the mind chatter. And the alpha waves really, really helped me because going from beta to alpha, then you start going into the theta waves, and that's where the magic happens. That's where people are able to have somatic releases, like where people are able to heal through sound. It sounds crazy, but like it taps into like a deeper part of your subconscious. And there's no story behind it. That's the amazing part. And that's why people are starting to use it for veterans and first responders.
Wow. Yeah. No, I've never thought about it the way you just put it about how you had such a hard time meditating because all the different voices in the chatter. I definitely had to start using different sounds and things. And what I ended up using was, I forget what it's called, but it's on YouTube.
Binaural beats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm literally thinking about that.
And different things like that.
Highly effective.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that was the only way that I could, when I first started meditating, that's the only way. And now, I guess, because it's been 3 years of me not giving up, right? Because I just felt...
It takes practice.
I felt like such a failure. But with singing bowls and with binaural beats and different things I would find on YouTube, I was able to meditate. And then I didn't need them anymore after a certain amount of time. But I couldn't just start meditating, you know? And when I meditate now, it's like the level of peace and unconditional love that I find in that space is unreal. Like I've never gotten it from a pharmaceutical. I've never gotten it from a drug. I used to be pretty hard into the club scene and all that. And this is something different, right?
Yeah.
And so it's something, so that's fantastic so you got into it first as needing it for yourself, and then now you actually take it to other people, because I know that you have brought those kind of experiences to the GSF, the Grunt style events.
Yeah, absolutely. After using and having these experiences myself, I wanted to bring it to the first responder community and to anyone that's really interested in this. And, just one thing I wanted to say about this is it's not uncommon for people to like break out, start, having tears, and they might not even know why, but it's just a really healing experience where just like you're able to sit back and just relax and things just happen. It's quite magical.
What a beautiful presentation you had. This was actually footage from integration this past year, I think.
Yeah, from Grunt Style Foundation. And that when you did that, I remember being in the room when you did that, and that was super powerful because you had 100 people in there and everybody was there to support one another and to have a tribe of love and healing. And it was just, the Lakota were there to hold space as well. And it was just this joint event between all these different tribes and all these different groups and the Irreverent Warriors and Grunt Style and all these different folks coming together under one roof. And you were able to kind of bring everybody into a meditative space. And it was phenomenal, you know?
Yeah, music is medicine. It really is. Vibrations, like everything is energy, but you know, music itself, it's healing. I think that's why a lot of people go to concerts, but this is like on a different level that involves your actual somatic and your nervous system.
Yeah, you know, that's funny because we were both at a high lung concert last
That's
year.
right.
A what?
High lung. It's how would you describe high lung, Elena? It's Germanic.
Yeah,
folk.
it's like Norwegian, Scandinavian, shamanic, just raw. Like
You guys ran into each other?
Yeah.
It's funny, we didn't even plan on it. I was like, yo, my dude. But yeah, it was a ceremony.
If you're not a fan of high lung, you are missing out. It is everything that they're doing is from like archaeological stuff.
ancient,
like,
man.
So it's like indigenous European.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly what it is. Is exactly what it is. And so they're taking like
You don't hear about that a lot.
No.
Well, no, but the ones that have found it have found something special because they take like stories from rune stones, right? And they'll translate them and then they sing them. But it's all done with traditional instruments. They do throw in some other things that you wouldn't really realize it, but they do. The entire concert is a ritual. It's not a music concert. It's literally
Yeah, they
a
open
ritual.
space and then they close space. Like there's energy in there that you feel. It gives you goosebumps.
They bring in Native American dancers and they smudge with smoke and they sing and pray and then the concert starts. And I'm telling you what, man, when they're doing, I was at All Fodder High Tier, I think is the name. Man, the energy is so freaking intense in that place.
Oh my
And
God.
there's hundreds and hundreds of people that are jumping up and down and they're shouting and the band's very theatric, so they have all these extras that are done up like Germanic tribal warriors.
I wonder
with
if they did
shields
that
and
at the
spears.
Stonehenge.
I don't know, but you know where they do play, and I missed it, doggone it, a couple years ago. If they ever come back, I'm going.
Oh,
It is
for
happening.
sure.
Red Rocks in Colorado.
Yeah, I'm there, buddy.
Yeah, let's go, man.
Yeah.
All right.
I think she was talking about the original Stonehenge. Is that what they did there? You know what I mean? Like at the old, like back. Yeah, but probably.
knows?
I mean, they definitely did a lot of singing and rituals.
I definitely think it had to do with music.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
dude, I thought we were gonna just like, let's go Viking and let's go raid St. Louis. You know, I mean, it was it's that kind of energy, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, that is fascinating. Well, I love hearing about that. I love seeing you in action. Is there anything that you have coming up? Is there anything Singing Bowls related that you have in the plans? I know you're probably coming to Integration September 17th.
Yeah, and you know, I'm so honored and so thankful to be able to share this skill and this love for music at Grunt Style Integration event. But yeah, there's a few events that are coming up. We're working with community, local. I'm kind of traveling all over the state, so I work in Kansas City and Missouri and down in Springfield too. But yeah, you know, home, our dear buddy there who just opened up that healing center. We're going to be collaborating. And one of my things is I don't necessarily love to work by myself. I love to pull different talents because all of us have different skills. So when we layer music on top of one another and do it skillfully, not only are we collaborating and using each other's skills, but it's like it's like passions that collide. And we're able to bring that healing to the public. So we would love to have more community events, and they're in the books right now. So yeah.
When are you going to be done? And that's in Pacific, Missouri. If anybody in our local area, there's all kinds of opportunities for the types of classes that you would find at our integration events, and they hold them pretty regularly down there in Pacific, Missouri. Do you want to tell them the name of the place there? It's Home Healing Center.
Yeah,
right?
Home
HOM
HOM Healing Center. Yeah, I'm actually meeting with them this Sunday to like nail down some dates.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely
And they
check
have
that
a,
place out.
A Japanese incense ceremony.
That's what I'm going to this
Me
Sunday.
too. I'm going to be there too, and it's free for all of our Reverent Warrior crowd, man. If you're an IW guy, come on down.
Yep. We got a lot going on in Missouri for IW. I appreciate it almost as much as Indiana. No, we actually probably have more going on than Indiana, but Indiana brings the heat.
Yeah, they do.
And you know, all these things, they kind of are like tied together. They're all interconnected to help the nervous system.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and you know, you guys were talking about binaural beats, and I'd be remiss just because somebody out there watching this is probably going to need this. When I had, and I've had many surgeries, and the one that was the worst was my first Achilles tendon when they were rebuilding my left Achilles tendon and all that. And man, nothing would touch that pain. And I mean, nothing. And I couldn't get comfortable and I couldn't go to sleep. And I mean, it was just absolutely outrageous. And that was when I found binaural beats because I was bitching about it to somebody and texted them or whatever. And they said, hey man, binaural beats. And it sounded completely ridiculous. But
you were willing to try anything. You were at that the spirit. You were at that humble level of like, I'll try anything.
I surrender.
I went to YouTube. I looked up binaural beats, BINURAL beats, and they have. Turns out there's a binaural beat for just damn near anything. If you got depression, there's a binaural beat for depression. If you got pain, there's a binaural beat for pain. If you want to go to sleep, meditation, on and on and on. And I put that one on for pain, and within minutes I was asleep for the first time, comfortably asleep.
Oh yeah, I put it on like right before I go to bed, or if I'm like having insomnia, man, put that on. Within 15 minutes, I am out.
Yeah, that stuff's no joke.
Yeah,
quiets your brain, and I think everybody's looking for that. I mean, we're all looking
the
to
brain
quiet.
states that it like helps you go into. It's
Alpha,
the actual,
theta, yeah.
it's science. It's not just like, oh, this work. No, there's science behind it.
Yeah, I love how science is starting to catch up to some of the indigenous healing. And speaking of indigenous healing, we just saw that the VA is offering psilocybin and MDMA therapy for PTS and TBI. And we wanted to talk about that a little bit because we also last week were talking about how the Pentagon just approved psychedelics to treat PTS. So we'll pull the article up now, and I'll go ahead and walk you all through it. But basically, the VA secretary is getting very interested in the data coming out of the psychedelic therapies. And the VA is now offering psilocybin and MDMA therapy for PTS and TBI in these areas: the Bronx, New York City, Los Angeles VA, Omaha VA, Palo Alto, California, Portland, Oregon VA, San Diego VA, San Francisco VA, West Haven, Connecticut VA, and Hartford, Vermont VA.
Holy cow.
And the instructions are to get on the wait list, tell your provider, I am interested in free psychedelic assisted therapy. And so that is what the VA is now offering. So it's funny. The Pentagon is allowing active duty reserves and National Guard down there in San Antonio and at a base in Georgia to access psychedelic therapy. And the VA is offering it all over the place.
Oh, that's amazing, man.
Because they're seeing the benefit not only of post-traumatic stress, which is what the benefits I got from it, but the benefits for severe TBI.
Oh, yes.
And I have several TBIs, but and it could be something that was exacerbating my emotional pain, but really everything that I was experiencing was emotional pain. And it was the emotional pain that it helped me so much with. And we don't want to push it on people. We don't want to, force it on anybody, but we do want people to have access if they are willing to do that, because it helped me, it helped you, it helped all three of us, kind of saved all of our lives.
Honestly, finally, there's a lot of research. I mean, decades, 50, 60 years of research. Yeah. Finally, we are implementing these really powerful modalities.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that for just a quick second. We talk a lot about plant medicines and psychedelic-assisted therapy, and we talk about a lot of different modalities: singing bowls, equine therapy, hypnosis, qigong. I mean, we try to not just be the psychedelic cheerleading club, but it is important, and the reason that it is important is because it is just as amazing at what it does as what people say that it does. And by the virtue of us talking about that and beating that drum, we have played a significant role in what we are seeing now. And folks, what's coming is we are in the beginning of the psychedelic renaissance, where we are coming at this stuff respectfully and intentionally and the right way. This is not the hippie counterculture. This is not something shameful or disgraceful. But there's a new era coming, and as this healing that is now possible and accessible in these pockets that you said is going to have incredible impact, and that will spread like wildfire across this country. And I think a new day is coming, folks. You know, I'm not real happy with how the state of the world is right now.
Oh, you mean where your
is
option is pharmaceuticals, or more pharmaceuticals? You don't like that?
I don't like that. I also don't like all the other crazy things that are going on. But yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of the benefits that these provide, Alina, you were telling us that you just had a very personal experience with plant medicine on a level that you've never had before. Do you want to kind of tell us what's going on?
Yeah, and thank you. This is something that's very, very fresh for me. I just recently went abroad to have a ibogaine experience. And for those of you that don't know what ibogaine is, it's a plant medicine originated from West Africa. It holds an alkaloid. Well, the plant itself is called iboga, but it holds an alkaloid called ibogaine in it. And it's not an all cure. I don't want to talk about it like it's going to cure everything, but we don't even know the capacity of what this medicine can do. And, you know, I do a lot of advocacy work for this medicine specifically, and will continue doing that at the Capitol. But I wanted to have my own experience to be able to speak from experience, that first person experience. And instead of going in thinking about like, oh, this is just another psychedelic to like put a flag on, or like, you know, oh, a novelty, I haven't done this before. I did not approach it that way at all. This is a really big experience, and it may not be for everybody, but I came in and surprisingly, what was coming up whenever I was doing my preparation work is working on anger. And I've had, just as a background, I've had resistant depression, PTSD, suicidal ideation, anxiety, and yeah, nothing like I've had experience with other plant medicines that have helped me peel back so many layers. But ibogaine was insane, and it's not it's not an easy experience, but it is a pretty hardcore one. But I can tell you right now, I had no clue how much damage trauma has done to my brain until I came out of this experience, and I can literally feel my brain heal.
This is the one that's reversing opioid addiction, isn't it?
Opioid addiction and TBIs. Like, there's so many things, like resistant depression,
Parkinson's.
Yeah, that's the other part. You know, we talk about depression, you know, all of these neurological, you know, mental health kind of things. But what it's hitting is also Parkinson's, MS, Alzheimer's, dementia. Like, you're talking about neurological type of issues, right? And like people who are literally trapped in their bodies and they're not able to do anything. And I can tell you right now from my own personal experience, I had pretty rough neurological pain down my spine, specifically L4. I do not feel that anymore. Like, I was diagnosed with ADHD. I do not have ADHD anymore. Like, I can function, and I've beat myself up for decades for like, why can't I be this way? Why can't I just get my shit together? Why am I always getting distracted? Like, there's no underlying anxiety anymore. That ADHD is gone. And one of the biggest things, and I've worked for so long, I mean, over a decade to help myself heal. And I have so much respect for the other medicines because they have led me to this point.
Sure.
But I go back to the things that traumatized me in my past. They don't even bother me anymore. Whenever I say like it healed my PTSD, like I can't, like I remember the event that happened, and then whenever I try to go back to it, there's no trigger. There's literally no me like replaying the story anymore. I can't even go back to the story anymore. And
like, you know, the story's there, but you're not be getting pulled into it emotionally at all.
Not at all. And like, I honor the story now. There's like a whole shift in perspective where it's like, I had to go through that shit to be who I am today.
And now you can help someone that's been there because you've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
The story. So, you know, that's interesting. I love how you explained that and put that into context, because we took a group down to the Amazon about a year and a half ago, I guess now. And when we were talking to the practitioners down there, a guy named John Freddy, he's an amazing dude. he was going on this whole lecture with Carlos Duran, who's one of the
I love
absolute
Carlos.
best orators that's ever graced the earth. And one of the things that he was saying was, and at the time kind of pissed me off a little bit, but after I thought about it, yeah, they're right. The more I learned. And the comment was that, trauma isn't real. It's really the narrative that you wrap around the story that you tell yourself to explain to you that thing that happened to you once upon a time. And that what you're actually holding on to, why can't you let this go, is because generally whatever that root trauma is the first event in a series, and everything before that event was your idealized version of whatever it is, whether it's when mom and dad were still married and there's the happy family and you didn't have all the things, or whatever your case may be. And I thought, man, what a load of hogwash when I heard that. And I've come to that realization that, yeah, he actually knows what he's talking about. And then to hear you explain it in a different way, that had I heard it your way first, I probably would have maybe jumped on board a little bit quicker. But yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time we hold on to our trauma, like we almost identify with it at a certain
Yeah.
point. And even though we don't like it, there's like, oh, but this happened to me, and then you want to identify with it. But
I have to resolve it, or else if I don't have like if your mind can't resolve an obvious why this horrible thing
why?
occurred, yeah,
That's right.
then it's your mind is trying to
bottomless pit
answer-
of why.
Yeah, your mind is trying to answer its own questions, and it's like trying to be the question asker and answerer, and it's just getting lost in itself,
And
Yeah.
a lot of times we're holding on to that trauma because it is the anchor to that idealized point in our life that we can't let it go because that's the bridge to that. from
Because
where we are.
without it, we might be very kind of untethered.
Yeah,
And we
exactly.
might be very in the unknown.
Unknown is the big picture here. It's like,
Yes.
ooh, the fear
who
of the
am I?
unknown.
Then who am I? Then who am I if I don't have all these, if I let go of all these things, and who am I?
And I also want to hit a point where like trauma isn't just like the story, it's also like what it has done to our nervous system
Oh, yeah,
to
there's a
impact it.
physical component for
There's a
sure.
book called The Body Keeps the Score. And like I
Yeah.
like heavily like suggest reading that book, anyone who has been through trauma. And these plant medicines, they different ones have different functions, I guess, like I don't know if anyone heard of the toad, 5-amino DMT, but like that one specific one, like it helps release trauma somatically. You don't have to talk through the story, but it's interesting because Ibogaine doesn't work like any of them. It is so straightforward. It's not like, ooh, having these psychedelic visions. And I don't really talk about it as psychedelic. Like I talk about it as psychoactive, but you see something like the visions that you see is literally what has happened to you, and it's HD right in front of you, just like I am looking at you right now.
Sure.
And it's a life review. And this doesn't happen for everybody. I don't want to fill in anyone's experience. Everyone has their own. But yeah, it's kind of like you get to see the eagle eye view of what happened. And then you talked about the root.
Mm-hmm.
It goes down to the root where everything began. And I think a lot of people focus on, not really where it all started. It's like, oh, but all of these things that compiled, and it's so heavy. But the root sometimes gets buried underneath all of that. And when we help heal that part, man, everything starts changing.
Exactly. And that's another reason why I think it is important to talk about this as much as what we do, is because this stuff, the genie is out of the bottle, and more people are going to be coming into this space. But, as this stuff becomes more clinical, there's a lot for these people to learn that they're not necessarily going to the indigenous practitioners who have been working with this stuff for millennia. And I wish somebody would have told me from the jump. It would have saved me a lot of time. I kind of view it as like you have this root trauma. It's like a domino. And then every other little trauma that you have in your life, or bad thing that happens, or problem, or just horse shit you got to deal with in the course of being a human, those are all the little dominoes that are stacked behind it. And what I was always trying to do for years, I did this. I need to work on problem number 82 and 78 and 64 and number 22. That one comes up a lot too. So I would try to resolve these issues. And yeah, they were largely resolved for those issues. But when I finally figured out how to get past that whole ego and do that deep work, and that I had the willingness to engage the root of the issue, that led to the situations that caused the traumas that, made all of those dominoes. By removing that number one domino, all the others just kind of went away, and I didn't really have to deal with them anymore.
That's the story,
That's
man.
that's what's at the bottom of the rabbit hole, man. And I was like, I wish somebody would have told me that from the beginning.
Yeah, and I've been there too. It's like being wrapped up for like years on years on years, like focusing on this shadow work to help myself because I'm like, what's wrong with me? The truth is, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just the experiences that we've had, and we just take things really personal, And like I just recently learned from my own medicine journey that like some things happen to protect you, and you just don't understand until you understand. And you create the story around, oh, poor me, this happened to me. But the truth is, yes, that happened, but you don't know what it led you to until you're there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, being from the firefighter community, the first responder community, how do you see, how have you been able to talk to others about this? Because I'm sure there's a lot of folks, just like we experience in the veteran community, there's a lot of folks that are like literally get angry if you try to tell them how helpful some of these things are. They get angry because they don't even want to hear it. They are so angry that it's not just, talk therapy and pharmaceuticals or whatever, that there's something new that could help. And they're angry. They're so stubborn. They don't even want to hear it. They don't want any part of it.
We have been raised in this very much medicalized type of society where it's like, well, if it's not legal or if the doctor doesn't prescribe it, then it doesn't work. And the truth is that is the furthest from the truth. Like these things are ancient. They have been around longer than Western medicine has been around. So, to each their own. I think there's a medicalized way of doing things and it serves a purpose for specific people, especially if they have health issues. But there's a medical side and then there's a spiritual side. And I think science itself, like science and spirituality are the same thing. It's just different languages. And how you access that healing, it just depends on the individual. And, within the first responder community, and I'm talking about the law enforcement, they can really benefit from these tools. Like I gained traumatic brain injuries, psilocybin. I've years ago, I supplemented instead of SSRIs, and I've been on a lot of medications. I switched out to microdosing psilocybin whenever I moved to Alaska, and that has made a massive impact for me and my colleagues. People who are depressed, and I can see it. You can see it all over their face. The first responder community is going through like a silent battle that no one knows about, and like the only way they know about it is people speak on it. But the truth is, like, you start talking about these things and their ears perk up. They know like there's something here, but they're too afraid of losing their jobs. Too afraid to talk to their superior about, hey, I really want to go and do this treatment, but if I get tested, drug tested, I might lose everything. Or what will my superiors think of me?
Yeah.
It's look, I've got somebody very close to me. I'm not going to say who it is, but it's very, very close to me, and has a very aggressive form of cancer that is extremely painful, and nothing touches it. And, it's like RSO or even just regular old CBD or, any of these things that could be helpful for him. He just absolutely will not even take a look into it just because, he is a first responder and has a lot of responsibilities, and they drug test, and he's very reliant on what treatment he is getting, and which isn't much, but that insurance is important, and if he were to come up positive for full spectrum CBD, which is going to have some trace amounts of THC in it, which could trigger that test, he's afraid he would lose his job and lose his benefits. So rather than seek relief or even potential healing on it, he's just writing it in silence.
I mean, that's what America's been doing for so long. And you had talked about, you had talked about the intersection between science and spirituality with these plant medicines. I know that you also are a practitioner of human design, and I wanted to touch on that before we end. Human design is where, for me, it's been extremely helpful because it's like a personality test that helps show me the scientific side of who I am and also the spiritual side of who I am. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about human design and the benefit you see from it, and then let us know like how people that are interested could get their chart or their human design.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to say that human design entered my life in 2019. So it has been 7 years now that I have been practicing, and I am a guide, a practitioner of this modality. And whenever I first heard about it, and I'm one of those people, I'm pretty, I guess you can say I could be rigid in certain areas, but like I'm not here to be persuaded. I'm not here to be told like, this is who you are. Like my partner was like, hey, you should really look into this. And he's been into human design for 25 years.
Wow.
And he has also been on the path of plant medicines for 25 years. And he sees how they benefit one another. And whenever I found out about it, I was like, another personality test. I'm good. I don't need anyone to tell me who I am. But I was really struggling. Like I was really struggling around that time. And specifically, like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing with my life. I was completely lost. I'm like, do I go on this career path, that career? And like, I felt this pressure, like I needed to do something and I needed to do it now. But the truth is, if you don't know what to do, do nothing, you know, like the irony of that.
There's a lot of folks that are kind of in that
absolutely.
holding pattern, you know,
but like you're trapped in this like society of like trying to like make a living, pay your bills, etc. And like, finally I surrendered to it and I'm like, okay, fine. My partner paid for a human design session for a guide to guide me through it. And my jaw dropped. I was like, what? I was in tears. I was triggered. I was like, how do you know so much about me that I didn't even know about myself?
I know. That's what happened to me when I got
whoa. It's literally like taking a mirror behind you and your blind spots and like illuminating, oh, by the way, this is how you show up in your not self. So there's a self and a not self. And this kind of is tied into psychology. There's different modalities that are basically stacked on top of one another. And think of human design as a compass. So it kind of guides you in the direction based off of what design you are.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's like fractal within a fractal within a fractal. Like, you know, it's like a microscope. You can get into the details of how you operate in life. But
are you going to be teaching that at Integration again this year?
If I am invited, I absolutely will, because I listen to those invitations because I'm a projector. That is my design. But yes, absolutely. If I'm really excited about integration, and human design can really make a massive difference to like help people align themselves on their path.
That's good.
Yeah, and like we talked. Go ahead. Yeah, we talked about like how like it aligns with Jungian psychology, and there's like he talks about shadow work, and there's the shadow, which is your not self, and then there's the self, and the not self is you running into walls, you continuously forcing your way through life whenever it's just not working out for you. So sometimes you have to just step back and let life happen, and then follow the strategy, your authority and your strategy and your design, and just watch life literally start aligning to your path.
Yeah, it taught me how to interact with other people. And I used to be a bull in a china shop.
Same.
With other humans. And I always wanted to take over the team. I had a strong vision, and I was just like trying to force things. And now I'm like kind of the opposite. And the way that I collaborate and work with people now is night and day.
Yeah.
Night and day. Like just so much less drama and friction in my life.
And whenever you know other people's designs, if you actually like dive into it, you understand why they are the way that they are, and you don't blame them for certain things. It's like, oh, you know what? I can just chill out and let them be them.
Yes.
Like it's okay.
Accepting and
especially
allowing.
In your family life, your spouse, you know, your partner, like all of a sudden you just have like a whole layer of compassion where you can see why they are the way they are.
Well, you are definitely invited to come back and teach again. And right now we're working on a second offering of an integration event that we're going to announce the location of in the coming weeks, probably. But I think everybody will be excited to hear what that is. So you're invited to come to that one too.
Awesome.
And, and one thing I love about Alina, I'm not too scared of too much. I'm pretty adventurous. I will go into the dark, and not too many people can hang with some of the levels of things I'm ready to just get down with. And Alina is one of those people, and we have had some pretty interesting adventures together. It's been
Yes, we have.
wild and it's been fun, and it's a story for another day. But I even found myself in an exorcism with Alina at one point when we were with the indigenous. And
Yeah.
this guy is full blown. Heels of his feet on the ground, his shoulder blades on the ground. He's like a complete arch, making these weird inhuman sounds. Then this little kid that was about 4 or 5 years old. I swear to God, it's a true story. You should,
Yeah, no, I was there.
They have these little guys that are like natural healers, like natural medicine men, and
This
they
is
just
Lakota.
know.
Lakota.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was Lakota.
Yeah.
And this guy comes in, and he's got. I mean, he just goes to doctoring this guy, man, that's like having this moment, and they're beating the drum and they're singing these prayers, and
So you're talking about releasing trauma, right? So there's
oh,
a
dude,
trauma
Oh,
release.
this is way
goes
more.
way beyond that, man. Like way beyond that.
ancestral trauma.
No,
And
no,
the
like,
human design is like being able to not step into that, like
Yep.
prevent it from happening and allowing it
Allowing
to
it,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah. so-
This was like glowing green slug creatures coming out of this guy's mouth.
Yeah.
Like as it was so wild that they come into this big teepee that we're in, and they're like, what is going? I mean, it was
yeah, it's
wild.
a ceremonial teepee.
It was intense.
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
She's got balls. Let me tell you.
okay, awesome. I love it. I love it. I'll be at Sundance myself this year, so
Yes.
it'll be interesting. All right, so we have got some upcoming Irreverent Warriors events we want to let everybody know about. So February 12th. Is our big Caribbean IW Adventures event. March 14th, Tucson, Silky's Hike, and then March 20th, Knoxville for a wellness weekend retreat. So if you're interested in any of those, please head to irreverentwarriors.org. Alina, thank you so much for joining us. Next time we have you, I want to talk more about the firefighter side of things. And Will, any parting words? Anything you got to share?
No, just for everybody that's going to be down, that's in the St. Louis area. If you're from Irreverent Warriors St. Louis, definitely encourage you to jump on the IW St. Louis page, Facebook group. We've got the details for the event that's happening out in Pacific this weekend with our good friend John Lanius.
Awesome. Well, thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you out there at the next event.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
Stay waxy, everybody.